Hello, friends. Welcome to another Elden Ring video. I am Alex Stadnik, and I am joined by, he needs no introduction at this point, but I'll do it anyways. Dan Tack is here. Hello, sir.
Welcome, everybody, to what I hope will be a more extended look at Elden Ring.
Yeah. And another friend of the show here, someone who is very experienced in Dark Souls, and I'm very happy to have him on. Wes LeBlanc is here. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello. I'm very, very, very excited to watch this because I am not going to get to play the network test like so many people out there.
You are not salty whatsoever, right?
Nope, not at all. I didn't even want to, From. If you're watching this, please send me a network test key.
We love you. So just to kind of set the table for this, if you're paying attention to Game Informer, you've seen that we've already posted a half an hour of Elden Ring content, but this is gonna be a longer cut. This is gonna be kind of, we're sitting back and relaxing and just talking like a bunch of fellas, just like watching a movie, hanging out. We're gonna go for maybe an hour, who knows, but we're gonna start at the tutorial and kind of leisurely walk our way through arguably one of the biggest, if not the most anticipated games of next year. I think that's fair to say, right, Tack?
Yeah, let's set the table a little bit here. This is me playing the PS4 version on a PS5 because I know people are going to ask.
Okay.
And yes, this is. I rarely say that a game is going to be monstrous before it comes out, but my playtime with this game has. The more I think about it, this game is just amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, we just skipped over the tutorial section, but we're going to go back to it in a second. I wanted to get out the door real quick first. You can actually just bypass the tutorial completely. You know, it is open world. This is the first vista here, you know?
Wow.
This is like, where do you go? You can go anywhere in the real game. And in this version of the game, which is the network test,
Yep.
we couldn't go exactly everywhere. We were blocked off by invisible walls at every turn, and I wanted to go past those walls so hard and just not go on the canonical path. And on release, that's what I'm going to do. I am going to go everywhere but where I'm supposed to go, and collect everything. But let's get going here. This is, if you're familiar with Souls, great. If you're not, I'm going to try to explain some concepts as we go through here. And if you're already familiar with some of these things, they'll seem very familiar with you. And I know some people will be dismissive of this game at first, saying it's just Dark Souls 4. Now, granted, of all of the FromSoftware titles that are in this game, which is all of them, it is the most Souls. There's the most Souls DNA, but it's cleverly taken things from every one of those other games, implemented it intelligently, and added a bunch of new things on top, including, and I know a lot of people are asking about this, more options to sort of let the player dictate their own challenge and difficulty level.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
if you've struggled with Souls games and stuff in the past, it includes some of those functions that are available to help you get past challenging encounters, but in an easier-to-use fashion.
Okay, so it's not necessarily like magic from Demon Souls. It's a little bit more.
Actually, the magic in this game is, again, the magic in this game in the network test was very good. I am a melee-centric build player. Have been for the last few years, but this game, we won't see any in the clips today, but I did toy around with magic, and it is very good. It is incredible looking, and it also is incredibly powerful in this game. You could totally smoke bosses that you'd struggle with magic. But if you don't want to use magic, you still have the summons. We'll talk about those in a little bit when we get to them.
Sounds good.
Right now we have we have like, your traditional, I'm a mysterious NPC, you don't know what my deal is, but I'm going to tell you some vague things and you're going to go off. Just like, that's very Souls game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going back to your magic points real quick, and this may be putting the cart before the horse, so I apologize, but it's not something we talked about in the other video. In Elden Ring, there are I can't remember what they're called, but the attack, the sword abilities, that you do like AoE damage on and that kind of stuff.
They're called Ashes of War, and they can be applied to a lot of different weapons from other weapons. So you could take an Ash of War from one weapon and put it on another, for instance.
Nice. Well, I guess my question then is, is there something similar with magic, or is it just pretty much set like spells?
No,
like
magic is magic. You have spell slots, and you'll probably acquire more throughout the game. But those Ashes of War abilities do function as magic, especially for a more melee-centric class. As you saw here, what I just did was turn it to Nightfall. You can actually go to any checkpoint. These are checkpoints. This is where you can teleport to and respawn at your leisure. Here's the Ashes of War menu. Look at that. You can pause the video and read that if you'd like.
Ooh.
Anyway, this just, again, in a nutshell, it lets you take skills from one weapon and put it on another weapon. So I can take that Thunderbolt move on this thing that I may or may not cast. I think I do, probably. You know, it gives it a melee template, a ranged attack, a ranged magic attack, right? So you're going to, here, again, one of the things that strikes me immediately about this game in comparison to others is the absolute wealth of options. It is the ultimate play it your way in terms of both going around the map and what you want to use. You'll still have access to magic and cool spells and stuff as a melee user through the Arts of War. Do you want to build your character out and like change what stats scale on your weapon? Like maybe you have a dex sword, you want to make a strength sword. It could probably be done. This game's customization elements just at that core level are going to make it so much more replayable than other Souls games. It's going to be, oh god, it's going to be so fun. This is anyway, we're going back to the tutorial here. Normally you do the tutorial first, but I also wanted to experiment a little bit with that stuff on the left. There's got to be a way to open that, right? And of course it's locked off. Everything's locked off in the network tutorial, but there were still plenty of secrets to find, and I'm sure we'll see some today. This is the canonical tutorial right here, the Cave of Knowledge. Very traditional FromSoftware thing, which is just going to, you know, it's not over tutorialized. It's going to say, here's what this button does. Here's what this button does. Use it. This is Grace. If you've never played a Souls game, this is your checkpoint. You get to do everything at Grace here. You do not have to go back to Majula. You do not have to go back to the Hunter's Dream and Bloodborne. All of your functionality can be done right here. That's super handy. You gotta love it, right? It's just a convenience thing. So you don't have to, you know, you want to do all your good stuff on the fly. Any checkpoint, you can do it. This game has way more checkpoints than any other FromSoftware game. Because of the very nature of it. Because you can port to them. There's fast travel from the beginning. I know people freak out and they're like, that's not Dark Souls. You've got no fast travel. But it's great. This world is really big. You're going to want it, okay? And believe me, it's very intelligent in the way that it makes you want to explore the world despite having these fast travel points. They're just to get across huge swaths of land so that you can dial in your exploration. You're going to be doing plenty of travel on foot and on horseback to find the things that you're looking for. It's incredible just walking around looking for things, which you'll see us do after we get out of this tutorial. As you can see, you know, traditional systems, what they've done in this game is sort of blend the old Dark Souls stagger with Sekiro's posture system. We don't actually get to see the posture bar on the enemies, but once you break it, you get a similar window in which you can like just lay them out flat, and you can do a lot of posture damage with, you know, big weapons like the one I'm using, you know, hammers and axes. Strength-based stuff.
Yeah. Do you like not seeing the posture bar as much?
I think in this game it's fine. Yeah, I don't want. You know what? The less bars, the better. I'm an old school Monster Hunter guy, right? Like, I don't want to know anything. Put the boss up without a bar. You know, we'll do it with that.
Bold. I like it. Yeah.
So does the posture seem connected to defense, much in the same way it was in Sekiro? Like you have to basically defend to get that stagger bar up.
No, but you can do that. So, like, if you're a big strength-based duder, you're just gonna want to wail them, right, with a jump attack or a charge-up attack or something, so you can smash those chunks of posture bar off in the back. You know, if you're more of a spry sword fighter or a defensive build, then yes, you're gonna do different things to stance break, including like, you know, guard breaking and all kinds of things. You know, with your shield, you know. Block an attack with your shield and then swing back at him.
You said in the last video it took you a little bit to get used to the jump attack. Do you have to use it in, like, do you have to hit like X and right trigger at the same time, or is it
not at the same time? So you hit one and then the other in the air. So that's not normally something I do much of in Souls. So it did take so long to get you. See, you should see me practicing it now.
Yeah.
But I won't be perfect with it until much later. You know, like an hour.
Yeah, which he does get to, by the way, and confirm.
Yeah, this is where it's telling me about the guard counter. This is great. This is a Sekiro thing, right? So you block, then you hit it with that. This enemy struck me as very curious. This is basically just a regular knight,
Yeah.
which is the tutorial boss. Usually the tutorial boss is something a bit friskier, but
Yeah.
in this case, it's just a regular guy, and I was trying to get my timing on the jump attack down, which is why I got hit. In another run on a different character, I just hit the guy once and he died instantly.
Oh, really?
And if you use magic, you kill him in like 2 bolts. It's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, that's the
So
tutorial.
you don't have to die by him. That's
quick
kind of
and
different
easy.
from.
No, they put that guy right outside. We'll see him again in a minute, I think, when we run by.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, later on, much later on, you can find a way to loop back into this cave. And there's a really cool Ash of War called Gravitas, which is like a gravity bomb attack. Now,
What?
I don't want to get into any spoilers here, but how could I even, since it's only the network demo? But I think
you're
this
3
game...
minutes into the game. You can't spoil anything that.
Oh, by the way, there's lots of spoilers in this, so I don't know if we said that already, but you're watching the network test footage, so yeah, there's going to be lots of spoilers to what's in this network test. So,
Wait, you mean this is from the game?
I know, right?
Oh no!
In that direction, I'm going to go on the record now and say that there is going to be some really wild stuff in this game. Maybe not all the way to like Bloodborne's tier twist, but I am predicting some very interesting elements in this game that you would not expect based on things that I have found in this demo.
Interesting.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
are you putting a Dan predicts on that?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay, sure. We'll throw it out there. Why not?
I think it's going to take a really interesting turn in some really wild directions that go beyond traditional dark fantasy. Although this thing nails the dark fantasy vibe.
You telling me that we're gonna walk in one room and Master Chief's gonna be there?
Oh my
No.
god.
No,
Oh.
no.
You can see here that I'm deftly avoiding the knight to get to this church. On another run, I completely did not even get to this church early, which is not great because you really want to get this checkpoint first. There's lots of good stuff here. This is the first vendor, the blacksmithing, a checkpoint, lots of stuff. But that knight scared me off, and I went straight in a different direction, and I didn't find this till much later.
Oh, interesting. Also,
What's it like being able to just run from something? Like it seems like that knight's kind of almost like a boss, and you can just leave.
So
you
you were asking where the FromSoftware tutorial boss is. That's him.
Ah,
So I wouldn't fight him until you get your horse. It'll be much easier on horseback. Now, you might have noticed we just found the blacksmith. It's a staple of the Souls games, and there are other Souls games, really, and Bloodborne and such. To increase your weapon's power, very important element of the game. They did tell us there, on that little screen, that you can only... It's a do-it-yourself blacksmith to take a weapon to +3. If you want to take it higher than +3, you'll have to find a different blacksmith somewhere else out in the lands between, which is the world here. This is the first vendor. It sells a lot of very important things. You definitely want to grab the crafting kit. I doubt they're going to have that on a vendor in the real game. They'll probably give it to you through some other method. Because it's completely missable and you can't craft without it. So it's really important to get. Crafting is great. This is how you're going to make all the consumables you want. Like arrows and fire powder and all that fun stuff. These are ashes. These are your summon spells. Whether you're melee, whether you're magic, whether you're a cleric, whatever you are, summons are really, really powerful and on 100% optional. They can't be used in multiplayer. You can summon spirits. They cost magic points to summon, or FP, whatever you want to call it. And they are not allowed in every single boss fight, but the vast majority of them they are. And let's talk about spirits for a second since we're here.
Yeah.
Spirits essentially let the player call in an NPC helper at almost any point that they want. Not all points, but a lot of points. And this will make the difficulty of the fight greatly eased. If you're struggling with bosses, or you have historically struggled with bosses in FromSoftware games in the past, and you haven't used the multiplayer functionality to call other people in your game to help, this basically gives you that without having to bother with the multiplayer systems, which are still in and awesome. But this gives you friends on demand, if you will.
Okay.
And if you're struggling with a boss or an encounter, or plenty of stuff in the open world is quite challenging as well, this game is actually, because of the little dials that they've tweaked on the player end of options about what you want to do, what tools you want to utilize, they've also been able to put encounters in that would have been ridiculous to have to deal with in a Dark Souls game, traditional Dark Souls game, like, 30 enemies or something ridiculous, right? Of very large numbers of enemies, more dangerous enemies, combined with the smaller enemies, nighttime enemies.
Ooh.
which I
like
don't know if we'll
zombies?
see any in this footage today, but there are some out here.
Okay. I want to go back quickly to what you said about not being able to use summons in multiplayer. Is that so?
That's because you've already got the multiplayer, and the multiplayer friend is your summon.
Okay. So,
So if you could have summons and multiplayer allies in the same battle, like this would.
oh, it would be
There
over.
wouldn't even be a fight.
Like
but
it was 6 people.
Yeah. More so, I'm asking to understand like the systems behind it. So like Wes and I, it's a Saturday night. We're chilling. We want to play together. I'd
Yes.
invite him into my game, and then like something would pop up and say, "Hey, summons are now gone." Right?
You'll be able to summon Wes directly, yes, using the in-game systems, but you will not be able to use your summon spells like those wolves while Wes is in your game. You've already got Wes. He's your wolf. He's
Yeah.
I
your
am
free
your
wolf
wolf,
moon.
Alex.
the
I got
wolf.
you.
Yeah, my guy.
The bloody wolf.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I want to make sure I was on the same page on how that, because I know invasions are still in this game, correct?
Yes, but they are a lot more well, they're not more complicated, but there's more options. Like you have to opt into invasions, okay?
Okay.
So I have to like basically say I'm down to get invaded down. You're not just gonna get invaded if you don't want any of that action.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right?
Yeah. Another question, and tell me to shut up if you need me to. But we have a map in this game.
We do. Isn't it beautiful?
It is beautiful. I do love
It's
the
so
design
good.
of it.
It's so good.
Very much
And
reminds me
the
of
stuff that you
Lord
see
Joy.
right here, this is not laid out. You can't see this stuff until you get a map fragment, which gave me all of West Limgrave, the topography. Now, it doesn't put landmarks or anything on it. It just shows me, like, vague points, right? Like, so I look at the map and I'm like, well, that looks like a cave could be there.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. Like, it's rarely explicit, and you'll find most of the things by not using the map, honestly.
If you go to a point of interest, is it laid out on the map, or is it
It
never?
will be attached to your map whether or not you've got the topography unlocked. See, this is the invisible wall here.
Yeah.
And it's all over the place. I tested its limits constantly. I tried horse jumping. I tried I tried everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And horse combat threw me at first, but back to the map. The map is great. It is not going to be a really, people have said everything will ruin the game, right? Everything that From's adding to the game will ruin the game. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. The map is actually really awesome. And I swear, if one other person comes up to me and sends me an email that says, it's just a Dark Souls game with Ubisoft towers, I will lose my mind. All right? So, no.
Don't test him.
As you can see here, this is just a big plant thing I found. I didn't really know how hard it was going to be, so I summoned. It's basically just a big poison pooper. So you want to stay away from it. No new surprises there, I noticed my barbarian has staggered it. So I go in with a bit. The jump attacks are real potent.
I love that.
Now, in this area, I want to call something out if you're playing the network test this weekend. I don't think it's in this video, in this particular clip, but if you get above this area and look down, there's actually a stairway that you have to jump into right to my left there from above it. And there's like a hidden boss down there called Pumpkinhead. He's pretty cool.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
Again, that's just something you're supposed to You're supposed to always be looking, and no amount of the map gives you like a really interesting, like ye olde times landmark thing to like maybe guide a little bit of your exploration. But man, your exploration is totally on your own. Like you want to get every nook and cranny, my friend.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this area over here that's blacked out, I don't have the map for that area, so I can't see it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And obviously,
Cool.
I can't go there anyway because it's gated off. But
Yeah. I remembered my question from earlier. When you're in
Great.
the map, the rest of the world is still live, right? So if I go check my map, these wolves can still attack me if I'm close enough, right?
That's true, yeah. But you can't pull up your map in combat, so
Okay. Cool.
generally that should help you. The world is big enough so that you could find a nice place to look at your map. By the end of the demo, I was casually out running a bunch of dudes. You get a good sense of the pacing.
Nice.
But it will not let you map if, like, in an active combat scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
As you can
Cool.
see, hey, it's a wild thing that honestly opens up a lot of new space to explore in. Yeah, we had it in Sekiro, but Sekiro was never
Does the jump button?
long, honestly,
Feel-
in the bigger picture.
Mhm.
But yeah, just like getting used to the fact that I had a jump button and I should be using it often, and what times I should be using it, and what times I shouldn't be using it. Yeah, that took some time. But I expected it would, just like the horse combat, which I think still is a little unwieldy compared to traditional combat, but it really depends on what weapons you're using, what magic you're using.
Yeah.
This is a giant enemy crab ambush.
Oh god, and it's gone.
And it ended badly for me. That's the secret there. But there was a cool spell that little scare. You're going to fight these little dung beetles pushing. I don't know why they're dung beetles, but they're basically the crystal lizard in this game. If you don't know what that is from the Soul series, they kind of like have stuff and they run away from you. And there's a varieties of them in this game. There's ones that give you all your health potions back. There's and a lot of them have special items. They don't actually have like the sharpening stones or whatever. Those are found elsewhere, but they're interesting finds.
Okay.
And also another change in this game, and since I just talked about health flask recovery, this game has another interesting new concept that carries over, from the different than Souls, is where if you go to like a ruin or something and you see like a ton of enemies, if you kill all the enemies, you'll get some flasks back.
Oh.
So that kind of keeps you in the exploration phase without having to go to checkpoints if you're actively clearing camps out.
Okay. Is it just dependent on the camp?
It
or
is.
it like a certain...
It differs based on the pack. Like maybe there's a pack of 3 guys in the road. Maybe that gives me 1 flask back. Maybe there's a pack of 8 guys at another ruin that'll give me 3 flasks back. But obviously you can't go above your cap.
Yeah. Also, I love that you didn't have to get off the horse to pick up the stuff on the ground.
Oh yeah, you can just run by and grab everything.
Yeah. Very, very Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm here for it.
And here's another new thing, that you can hear in the back. We have ambient sort of musical notes. This is not a part of Souls games, right? They save that music for boss encounters. But they seem very comfortable with it here.
It's quite nice.
Yeah, it's kinda
serene for
actually.
a Souls game. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, you're speaking my language here, Tack, and I'm so here for it because these feel like quality of life changes to me that are could be considered small or done before in other games, but I feel like this is opening this game up to me as someone who historically hasn't loved these games, right? Who has struggled in the mid game of these, and
I think to that note, I wanna address the difficulty again. So I think this game is going likely based on the real bosses that I fought in the demo. There are lesser bosses too, but there are 2 really big ones: the dragon and the gatekeeper of Stormville Castle. Based on their difficulty, I think that we're looking at a game similar in terms of challenge compared to the Souls games and Bloodborne. And that said, I think it will be easier for players to tackle these challenges because of the options they have now. And the spirit summons are one of those things, but the other one is somewhat of a psychological thing and a gameplay thing, which is now if you get stuck at a boss, you're not sort of trapped into fighting that boss until you beat it, right? Your options are not just I'll walk around the level and go find some items and put some more stats in, or call for help. Your options are now all right, I'll come back later, and I mean later. Maybe 10 hours later, maybe 20 hours later. You have a huge world to explore outside of whatever particular encounter is giving you trouble. I mean that's just going to happen.
And you can mark it on your map, right? If you leave,
you can leave markers on your map that will stay there that you can come back to when you're ready to go.
Is that what we're seeing now in those little like circles?
Those circles are the sites of grace, so I can port to any of those.
Got it. Okay.
Well, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
Well, and speaking of coming back 10, 20 hours later, you said you've put, 15 and 20 hours into the network test, right?
That's right.
And this is only a piece of the first map? Like
That's right.
That's incredible.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
I know. It's wild to think about. And that's really what makes me... This is such a huge development for FromSoftware and for, if you want to call it a Souls game, and for the Souls series, because it's so much different. In the Souls games, yeah, maybe there are some choices to make along the way, but it's path A or path B. and eventually you got to go back to path B or path A anyway. This is completely unlike that. You are all over the place whenever you want, and it's such an amazing breath of fresh air. This, you know, I hate to gush about a game that's in a technical closed network test state or what have you, but I can, if the rest of the game is as good as this demo, then it will be their best game.
Which
Wow.
is really high praise.
That is so exciting.
Especially from someone who is very reserved in you know.
Right. I would take a bullet for
critique
Bloodborne,
stuff, yeah.
okay? So
Yeah.
that should tell you where I am right now on this.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that it gave me a little chill down the spine. I'm not gonna lie.
And as you so love to point out, Alex, on the podcast all the time, I tend to really not hype up a game until well after release.
Yeah.
I'm pretty comfortable doing it this time.
That's awesome. Which I think is a good thing. I point that out as a good thing, right? You know, you're a man of discerning taste, and the people love you for it.
Well, thank you, Alex.
Oh, invasion.
That's
Yeah.
right. So this is an NPC invasion, as you've probably come to recognize from the Souls games.
Oh,
That's
bang! I
me-
love that move.
That is me using the Ash of War ability, a skill. It's a really cool ability, but it does have a wind-up, as you can see. So you have to like really kind of time it out. And this is kind of a taste of invasions. It shows you both like an NPC invader and you get an NPC ally to come help you with it. Because he's actually pretty frisky. You don't really want to mess with him. So here's the, like your friend. Now you can meet this guy before the encounter, or you can meet him after the encounter. But he hangs out under that bridge up ahead.
Okay.
They really upped the amount of blood that comes out. I've noticed. It's like splashing all over the place.
I mean, he's a bloody finger.
He is Bloody Finger. It is.
That is true, yeah.
What's in a name? You know.
So on invasions, if
So-
you wanted, could you have just ran away?
Good question. You can run away from many of the major encounters in this game, so probably very likely, yes. I'm not so sure about that particular one. There may have been some kind of invisible wall, because it is a story beat, sort of, to sort
Gotcha.
of get you to know about invasions with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Do we think they can also, to that question, can some of the invasions, whether it's NPC or otherwise, do you think they could get on a horse themselves and chase you down?
there's
Do you think
no
it goes that
horses
far?
during multiplayer stuff.
Got it. Cool.
That would have been. I understand why. Believe me, you can get pretty wild with these horses. So.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine how ridiculous horse versus horse duel would be in a multiplayer session.
I feel like
You'd never even hit each other, really.
Yeah,
it would just
right?
be- it would not be great.
do like the idea of setting up like jousting in a Dark Souls game.
Yeah,
type
so
game.
you do get to actually. Some of the enemy horseback riders will sort of engage with jousting with you,
Oh, cool.
including one of the characters that only appears at night, the Black Knight Rider. I'm telling you, this game is gonna go places. All right, there's hints. There's hints of it going in multiple very interesting directions, which are not immediately understood.
Mm. Which I think is better that they're not understood until we get the full game.
Yeah. I don't believe me. The Bloodborne moment was like legendary. So I don't. I'm just glad that I'm just telling you. There's little taste. It's a taste
Yeah.
test out there. Hey, look at these things. It's a jump pad.
Oh, wow!
Oh.
Look
Now
at
these
that.
help you get
That
around
horse.
a lot, and you could experiment with them to get all kinds of places. Obviously, a lot of my places were blocked off, so I use these jump pads to try to like get over the invisible walls. As you can imagine, I didn't get to do it, but you know I'm gonna try.
Oh, you better believe it. Yeah. Did you get in
I
the
love the
tech
idea.
test for the weekend, or do you already have it technically?
I believe I'm in again, and I'm going back in.
Yeah, you better believe it.
I'm
Yeah.
just telling you. I mean,
Wes is gonna be sitting outside your door, looking like Eric Andre, just screaming, "Let me in! Let me in!"
and Wes,
No, I don't even-
I would have given you the code, but I don't have a code. I think I'm just flagged for being in it because I was in the other one.
Yeah, I think they just do like email. They just didn't like my email. It's whatever.
Were
The
you?
fact, and I said this on Twitter, you know, the fact that I want to go back in, even after already doing a ton of exploration in this game, that is very telling, I think. So
Yeah, you're gonna be able to wait the 3 months for release.
no, not
after this
anymore.
weekend.
I kind of wish I didn't play it at all. I mean, now I'm just gonna lay in bed at night wondering when it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay.
So So this horse doesn't take fall damage, it looks like.
No, no, it does. It can, but not off of jump pads. You're immune to fall damage while you're using a jump pad.
But if you take a big fall, could you just use your double jump right at the end to...
No, you'll die.
Okay, dang.
Wow.
I try with that, but...
Physics.
And people have said a lot about the fall damage in this game. So yeah, it's either basically the fall is going to kill you, or you're not going to take any damage. That's sort of the threshold
Okay.
compared to other
good.
Souls games.
Yeah.
And there's lots of experimentation to do with what fall will kill you and what won't, and maybe you'll see some in this video, depending on if we go to the beach, because I had a lot of fun down there, jumping off cliffs for a while.
Yeah.
This one's interesting right here. Like, you see this thing, those smithing shards? They were inside of a statue, and I could see them in them, but I couldn't break it. And then I came back later and it was broken open, either by the lightning or by the trolls. I'm not sure which broke it open, but...
Oh, okay.
Is this
Man,
dynamic weather, or is this area right here?
This area
just
is
stormy?
super stormy, and it doesn't always have lightning, but sometimes it does.
Okay. I got you.
And now we're morphing to another area. Alex has us on the grand tour here.
Yeah. I just, I put it all on the timeline, put a couple of transitions through it. I was like, all right, here we go. Yeah.
I like it. So this is the Flask of Wondrous Physic, which you just saw me utilize. I've talked about this already, but it's a very awesome new addition to the Souls formula. It is a modular, refreshable flask of buffs and other assorted alchemical magical effects that you put into it. You put the ingredients in there, you mix up the bottle, shake it around, and you get the effects. And it replenishes like your health flasks and like your mana flasks at bonfires.
Nice.
We didn't have a whole lot of different concoctive items. I think we had like 4 of them to stick in there during the course of this that I found. But later on, I'm sure we'll have all kinds of different ingredients that we can stick in there, and maybe even more uses on it. But it's super handy to have a consumable that you're not afraid to use, so you don't have that Final Fantasy. I've got 99 elixirs by the end of the game because I was afraid to use any. So this one you just use every time, right? You're in a boss fight, you're going to use your flask, right? Whether there's no point not to. You don't have to worry about getting consumables or getting craftables. It's always going to be there for you.
Yeah. And did you say how, because in previous From games, that's part of the upgrades is getting more uses of the flask. Did you say how you get more uses?
I never found any more uses during this particular demo. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. They always have in the past. So I don't know, but I would assume that we will find them, but I didn't find any in this demo.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to go against a big boy here, huh?
Yeah.
This guy...
is one of the great foes, correct?
Yeah, so this is a real boss. Quite a good bit more difficult, I would say, than some other introductory Souls bosses. But again, the summon makes him trivial.
God, this castle is just so good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at it. That guy's got a furry arm. Look at that.
So yeah, the whole concept of this castle is that Godric and his folks do something called grafting, where they sort of just, I mean, for lack of, not to make it delicate, they take pieces of things and put them on other things.
Ooh.
All right, so like arms, dragon bits, like dragon heads. You saw it with the lion with the blades on its arm. That was a failed experiment, I think. Birds with scissor blades for their talons. Like, they do all kinds of grafting here.
Ooh, it's a lot of Frankenstein's monster type stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's sort of what they do here in Stormville Castle. As you can see, my Northern Barbarian is taking the boss's attention.
And
he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hit. He does have learnable patterns. I did kill him without summons as well.
But the summons seem to take the heat. Like seems like the bosses and enemies will just go right for him.
Well, as usual, in these games, the bosses are actually, once they have another target, they're pretty easy to take down.
Yeah, your summon takes a beating here though.
He does. Someone's dead. Wow, we didn't even fit it. Wow, okay, and we're back to a picturesque hovel.
Yes.
In the rain, and yeah, the rain gets the weather effects I thought were really great. They intensify as you move up the Stormhill, and some of the locations in Stormhill were closed off to me, even though they're in West Limgrave. I couldn't get to them, but I certainly explored and attempted to find. Again, you will spend a lot of time looking for things, whether you've got the map laid out for you or not. There's stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
And these invisible walls won't be there in the real game, right? We'll be able to go wherever we want.
Do you... So, I what am I trying to ask you? Did you find yourself within that like 15 hours you played thinking about like how big this is? Was it overwhelming to you, or did you feel like
No,
they're hitting a nice balance with content?
I thought that was obscenely tantalizing. The fact that we don't have... Listen, I love the Souls games, but at the end of the day, they are a series of corridors with bosses at the end.
Yep.
This game truly makes you feel, whether it's illusory or not, that you can do anywhere and go anything. And that's even with the artificial gating that we had done here because of the demo. I felt like I had so many different things that I wanted to check out at any given moment. So that if I ever got into a situation where I was in the zone where it's like, oh, well, I tried this boss a couple times and I'm not feeling it right now.
Yeah.
I have 100 other things that I could go explore right now.
Are you still getting that sense of like connection? That's one of my favorite things about games is like opening up a shortcut and being like, oh my god, I'm back here now. This is so cool.
Yeah, that is definitely a great question, Wes. And that is going to happen in these bigger dungeons. Now, we couldn't do the complete Stormville Castle dungeon. It wasn't available to us. We only could really do the first section. And I don't know how many more segments there are, but those big legacy dungeons are, have that classic Miyazaki design of many different ways to go about exploring it. Even in the first segment, that is quite obvious. Secrets abound everywhere, and they will feel like the traditional Dark Souls dungeon layout. Now, how big they are is a good question. They do have multiple bosses. We know that because we fought, the Gatekeeper, and of course, there's going to be a Godric at the end of that encounter as the demigod of that area. But I don't know if there's going to be another boss between them, or how many great foes are traditionally going to be associated with a legacy dungeon. But yeah, we don't know that. But I can tell you that those places are laid out a lot differently than the open world, okay? They're laid out in the classic format, like, a Lothric castle or something.
Gotcha. So you said demigods. Are those kind of like the biggest bad of each area?
Yeah, those are going to be... There's going to be 6 of those in the final game, which...
Okay.
it's basically... here we go back to Dark Souls again, right? You have the Heirs of Fire or whatever, the big bosses that you have to beat in order to proceed to the end game. Those are going to fill that role here.
Nice. Amazing.
And I'm sure, like, again, I bet those bosses are going to be really tough. Summons or no summons. They're probably going to eat summons for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have to go explore the greater world to get powerful enough to handle them.
Cool. I like I said, if you've listened to any of or watched any of our coverage so far this week, I've talked about a lot how this was just morbid curiosity for me now going to a day one thing just because of a lot of the stuff we've talked about here today. And I'm very excited to see more. I think I am happy I'm not playing it though. I want this experience to be fresh for me, not having those gated experiences. Because I don't know.
I'd rather have it and be gated than not. So we're checking out the Dragon Burnt Ruins here, which of course begs the question, where's the dragon that burnt them, right? And the NPCs also give you hints of a dragon being in this area. So you can either go looking for it, or you can not. But yeah, there's definitely a dragon in this lake. He's a great foe, so on par with the other guy.
He's just a great foe,
But the dragon, I don't know if we're going to see him in any footage here, but the dragon is... really a showcase of how mounted combat can be applied to an open world boss fight, and again, as we mentioned in the other video, it took a while to get used to.
Yeah. Also,
it was pretty valuable.
Yeah. So, that's a good thing. So, like, we've talked about great foes versus regular foes, right? What, in your experience with this, like, did you feel rewarded for killing these foes with drops versus the great foes? Okay.
So the regular foes, I think, are sort of the Dark Souls take on Sekiro's mini-bosses, right? Like, Unnamed Samurai 75, or Spear Samurai Guy, Ninja Hunter Man. They are not the epic boss encounters, although you will have those. Those are not going to be in short supply, I assure you. But the foes are just like, it's kind of like a mini-boss guy. You're not supposed to really struggle with this. And, the rewards, again... fit the bill, right? You're not going to get anything amazing, but you're going to get things that are very much worthwhile. Awesome, like trinkets, like amulets that give you like stamina recovery. What would be similar to the Chloranthy ring from Dark Souls, like they're definitely worth doing. They give you a ton of runes. They give you and a varied rewards too. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna go kill like a bunch of foes today in the Catacombs so I can get some new Arts of War, some Ashes of War. That's not how it works. Oh, I refuse to kill the turtle.
Thank
obviously.
you. I was about to turn this whole damn thing off if you took
I will.
the turtle.
Come on, Alex. I would never. What a beautiful creature that was.
Yeah, he was majestic. He's probably there for like 600 years and just finally got there.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah.
I do like that he's just a normal turtle. Everything else is like some Miyazaki take, and that's just a turtle.
There's just a turtle. There's just some. There's all kind. Oh, here we go. This was part of my exploratory phase, so we're probably going to see some deaths here. But eventually, this did yield fruit. But I did, I was sort of probing this sort of wall down to the beach.
Yeah. Which I think is important. I can't remember if I left in the end of this clip or not, but I feel like from what you're saying, this game is encouraging that, whereas before I feel like people were put off by Souls games because it's like, well, I don't want to die because that means I'm all the way back to square one. With the abundance of checkpoints now, it feels like it's like, yeah, jump off this rock, see what happens, you can find something fun.
You still do lose your runes or souls on death, but who cares? All right, if there's one thing I could tell any new Souls player, it's to completely mentally disassociate yourself away from that loss. There are always more runes, and there are always more souls. Lots of them, in fact. So, like, and they're easier to get back in this game than before, too, because you can start right by your body with the Stake of Marika. If you die in a boss, you can come right back next to that boss. So,
God, I love that.
That's a new convenience checkpoint thing. There's no run back. You can be right back in that boss fight in seconds.
Yeah.
I still get nightmares over the final Dark Souls boss. That run back.
You had to run on that boss? No, everybody beats Gwyn in their first try. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, no, I totally did. All right,
good.
I got it mixed up. Yeah.
Wes was testing you, Tack. Good job.
Yeah. Just checking your credentials.
Oh boy, we definitely need to do that here.
Yeah.
So here I am, like looking at these walls, because there could be a cave in them, and sometimes there is. So like, I found myself doing so much more exploration, over and above even a Souls game, like wall probing. Hey, could this be a secret wall? Could this be a secret wall? Should I use this emote here? What could happen? Who knows? But the exploration always felt rewarding. See, I was kind of cheesed off that I couldn't get past here. I'm like, hey, why is there a wall here?
Yeah.
You're just playing this game, and From is like, hold on, can you get past that wall? They're just freaking out trying to stop you.
Yeah. But with From, sometimes you can get past that wall. That's the thing. So you kind of got to really test it. And then I'm like, well,
so it seems like
the
classic like Dark Souls, I guess like jankish kind of platforming where, they don't really.
Oh god, there it is.
Oh goodness.
I wasn't sure what was gonna happen.
They don't signal post like, hey, you can jump up to here or fall down to here, but you can. It seems like that's the same kind of exploration happening here, just in an open world format.
This is a little bit over and above, I think, what regular players are going to do, right? But I don't know. I think they will, actually. People are going to... Once you get a taste for exploring this world, you're going to want to do it a lot. And you're going to probe the very boundaries. You're going to push the envelope every chance you can to see if you can find something special, because sometimes you do. I probably would have given up on this kind of behavior if I didn't find anything. But guess what? Eventually I did. And I did make it down to that beach. And there's a secret cave down there. And there's another cave on another beach. And I really wanted to see what that guy by the fire was down there, too. I had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But that drop, hey, it took me a while to figure out what drops needed to happen to get down there.
For sure.
And that's part of the experimentation process. But the fact that I liked that, it wasn't just like, okay, now I'm going to get these souls, go to the next boss. Get these, go to the next boss. Get these, go to the next boss. Obviously, Souls is a little bit more than that. But it can feel like that in a very stark contrast to this game, which is really all about player freedom, options, and choices. On top of the Dark Souls already, well-established and very awesome combat system.
For sure. There's falls that... Is there falls in that? You may have already said this, and I apologize if you did. There's falls that, like, your horse can survive, but you can? Or is it, like, if you
will survive... You will survive the fall with your horse if you use the jump pad.
Okay.
The jump pads are designed to rocket you across the... to rocket you in different directions, so...
For sure. But
those won't hurt you when you fall.
Is it more so that, like... Because, there's been other games where, you really went for it on that one.
You always go for it. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm testing things.
Yeah. But, so if let's say there's not to that height, but there's a certain height where if your horse takes that damage and it dies, would you survive? Is there any instance
So,
of that, or
not
is
from
it
fall
always
damage,
okay?
but in regular combat, your horse can die independently of you. Your horse can take a shot for you, depending where the enemy hits you on the hitbox.
Yeah.
And if the horse dies, it'll cost you one of your flask charges to bring it back immediately, or of course, you can go back to any checkpoint. But
Sure.
you can use a healing flask to bring him back into the fray in whatever you're doing in the moment, if in case you need him back immediately or you want to travel with him.
For sure.
It's our boy Torrent.
Yeah. Torrent. Are all horses named Torrent? Or did you
This
name
is
that?
canonically the spectral steed's name in this game.
Okay, gotcha. So it's the Roach of Elden Ring.
Yeah, Torrent's a way cooler name than Roach, by the way.
Yes, unequivocally so.
Yeah.
Also looks like he handles better.
You know what? He does, but again, the combat took a while to get used to, and I think most players will struggle with the horse combat at first, but it is useful in a pinch. I definitely prefer standard combat, but the horse combat comes in very handy against big, fast foes, like the dragon, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Also, I was really hoping Torrent would run over that Skeletor-looking dude, but alas, he did not. Do you want to skip ahead to when you finally get down on the beach?
I don't know. What are we doing next? I don't know what's next, Alex. I have no idea what you prepared for us today in this buffet of amazing things. You can see me here again. Some of my time in the game was just bumping up against this wall and trying to find exactly where I could go and probing that. But yes, we can zip around.
So we're not at the beach quite yet, but we did skip ahead to, you'll see a familiar face here if you watch from the beginning. From the tutorial area, you kind of saw a knight in the distance. Tack is now, at this point, been in this game a little longer. He now knows, the ins and outs a little bit more. Now he's taking on the tree sentinel.
Yeah, he's a large boy, and, based on the footage we saw from the gameplay preview, these sentinels will show up in other areas as well. And again, these should not be considered in the same space as the big canonical bosses, right? These are, again, sort of like Sekiro's lieutenant samurai kind of guys, right? Mm-hmm. They're bosses, but they're not a huge deal if you're ready for them.
Yeah. Which is funny.
Yeah, if you try to fight this guy right when you come out of the cave and you don't have magic, you'll probably get smoked.
Yeah.
If you have magic, you can probably kill him pretty easily. Magic is really good.
Yeah.
And
then you get on your horse.
And as you can see, being mounted is like a big boon. Like, especially once you get the timing down. It still feels a little awkward comparison to From's signature amazing grounded melee combat, but you can get the hang of it. It's not as good as regular combat though. And as you can see there, I found an Ash of War, but it was for a shield.
No.
So yes, you can actually put these magical abilities on much more than just weapons. So you're going to find shields that have special abilities that can take special abilities as well. So that's a big deal. You can use 3 different weapons at once. So even armaments. So, you can be swapping between things and using different abilities on each one. It's going to make for very dynamic combat.
Interesting. I know you took a solemn vow to never use a shield in these games, like blood pack the whole thing.
It has been.
Whoa!
It has been since
my
first run of Dark Souls ever. After that, I've never used shields again.
His best friend was a shield, and then he.
I don't believe in them anymore.
Yeah.
You get to a point where it's just like, and for even years after that, I've had a no magic stance too. But I think I'm gonna go.
Hurt you.
I think I'm gonna go back to magic now, just because it's so good in this game. It's very impressive visually and very impressive on other fronts as well.
Okay.
You made it.
Very powerful.
Also, I thought you were dead. I thought you were so dead. But you were not.
This isn't even the same approach though. This is on a different side of it, but there's probably stuff to find down here too. There is, as a matter of fact. Hey, Spirit Spring jumping. I just call them jump pads.
This is I think this is, if this is the moment I'm thinking of.
Yeah, this is probably that moment.
Favorite moment from your capture here.
It's part of the price of exploration, Alex.
Yeah. Oh, that should be like, when you do a live stream of this, that's what we should call it. The price of exploration.
Look at the pingans.
Boibs.
Yeah, Burbs.
Burbs.
Now this is it. Here we go. We're getting to that island.
And I'm getting out of here, baby. Solux. Oh, never mind.
So obviously the question in my mind there was, okay, if the Spirit Spring jump pad can't get me there, how do I get to that island? And eventually that's something I discovered as well.
Oh, okay. maybe pretty quickly here.
I believe it was pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Is it the penguins? It's always the penguins.
And for those wondering,
Oh.
no, on your playthrough, you probably will not spend as much time, you know, probing the outer limits as I do, or maybe you will. It really
Yeah.
depends about your appetite for really pushing the limits. And I only did this because obviously I was gated off from other areas, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna really explore the space that I have to explore and see what we can do.
Yeah.
This is a
This is me.
200-hour game for you.
This is me probably taking a drink of water or something. All right, even you know, even I have to do that now and then.
Great warriors need a moment. Yeah.
Actually, I was probably answering a message or something from you.
Probably some
quite
idiot.
possibly.
Yeah. Be like, hey, when do you want to record gameplay?
Yeah. That's why I'm looking around confused. I'm like,
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah.
Why is Alex texting me?
I swear to God, it's 3 a.m. I don't need to hear from this man.
It's a big
Probably
decision.
was.
Do you pick up the item or do you not?
Yeah.
It's a
I
tough
have to make
choices
that
you have to
decision.
make.
I'll probably just leave it right there.
Yeah. You can't get over encumbered in this, right?
No. I mean, okay. So yes and no. For those who have not played a Souls game, this game includes heavy encumbrance, medium encumbrance, and light encumbrance. But it will not affect you based on like the stuff you're carrying, just the stuff you have equipped, Alex.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if you want to play a heavy armor build with like giant weapons, you're going to need to put points into strength to carry more gear on your person. But that will not affect how much stuff you can carry. Like if you want to pick up every freaking row of fruit, and you should, if you want to pick up everything in sight, go ahead. It's only the stuff that you have equipped, okay? So,
Gotcha.
and like Souls, you have a fast roll, a mid roll, and a fat roll, as we call it.
That boy roll.
And if you are using the heavy roll, you're gonna have a terrible time in this game, or any Souls game really.
Yeah.
Like, you do not want to be using that mid roll for a big strengthy build. Getting a mid roll is suggested. If you try to push the limits and go heavy armor, you're gonna hurt. You're gonna hurt real bad.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna come up to something curious here in a second, I think. That I didn't actually figure out. And it's one of the things that I'm gonna go back to immediately. Like, no, I guess I'm going in the other direction though. Hang on, maybe I'll turn around.
You're like, how far can I go here?
That is exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
where does this end? How can I get to that island? I want to go to the island. I see an island. I want to go there.
Yeah.
If you can see it, you can go there. Thanks, Todd.
Even it just works perfectly. You can even
It just
see
works.
there's like that little alcove there. It looks like a cave exit. Like it's like
That is when I started putting two together, Alex.
Yeah.
That cave exit is like, wait a minute.
wait a sec. Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to try to jump across the earth to get there.
But that's more fun, you know?
It is, and there are places that you have to jump across the earth to get to.
Oh.
So here's one of
ruined this
Kale's
man's
friends.
setup there. I don't know what he had, but it's dead now. It's gone now.
So yeah, Kale has a number of nomadic merchants that travel the world that are like him, and they can offer various good things to buy. And most of these, I found that like you want to grab their crafting recipes and stuff, but they have a bunch of stuff for sale.
Is this may be a noob question? I apologize, but is this the type of game where it's best to get armor and weapons in the world instead of buying them, or vice versa?
It depends what you want.
Okay.
Both is the answer.
Okay. Just depends on like your build and
Right, and availability. Like maybe you don't know where the giant, the amazing boss drop club is. So maybe you'll buy one from a vendor until you find it.
Got it. Okay.
You'll likely use multiple weapons across the course of a playthrough. Again, you can have multiple armaments, and because you can hot swap them, you could have one ability on one, then swap to another one and use a different ability. It's very cool. Now this is something I'm very upset I didn't check out further. This weird thing that looks like something is here, moving in a circle, right? Now, I spent some time trying to figure out what the deal with this thing
Trying to
was.
murder it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't do, which I did do in some other places that had good results, was come back at night. So I wonder if I can see this at nighttime.
Ah.
So that's what I'm going to do in this weekend's network test. That's the only thing I'm
Oh
going to
no!
do.
Not
I
the
thought-
blame!
I thought I didn't want to.
Dude.
I thought it was like a sacrifice circle, Alex. Okay. I would never have done that unless it was
Alex,
for the sake
cut the
of
stream.
Tell that to Mr. Popper and the penguin he just lost.
I'm good friends with Mr. Popper, and I just needed to test something. This is about testing things.
Yeah. Tell
So
that to its
there are other
family.
places in the game where coming back at night yielded interesting results. So this is, I think maybe I'll be able to see it at night, or maybe under special moonlight, or I don't know. I don't know.
This
Or
is
maybe
gonna
this is
be
just a tease.
yeah. This is gonna be some Calendar Man stuff from Dark Knight or Batman Arkham City, where he only tells you things on certain days or like holidays and stuff.
I mean, that's completely possible, you know. And for as much as I found in this test, I'm sure there's things that I missed too. That's how big this little baby slice of the game is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I am I'm stunned by that. I'm loving it, as they say, as the kids say.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Look at this. So you come up by a guy by a fire. I was like, oh, that probably is another one of those merchants, right? No, it's a bad guy.
Oh, it's a baddie, and you will be treated as such.
But
Oh.
there's
Easy
a cool
face.
item here. There's a cure poison, and I found a couple of different instances of cure poison
Mhm.
in this world. So there's a couple different places you can pick up that spell.
Okay. Interesting.
You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Just like
And yeah,
like at Burger King.
I know, right? I messed around with that circle a little bit. I know there's something we can do, right? I know there is.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what. And I didn't do the extensive testing that I did, like I did at the secret wall in the castle.
Yeah.
But I did enough to satiate my curiosity until I moved on.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's gonna be one of those things. This game is gonna be full of moments where, you know, I don't know if you guys were like me in high school, but like, or college, where I had to work my butt off to even get like a semblance of an idea of what I was doing, and then like my friend would just like look at the book for a second and get it instantly. I feel like this game is gonna have a lot of those moments where it's like, I tried for 45 minutes to emote into the sea, and then
Yes.
someone just like did one thing and it popped open the best weapon in the game.
And then eventually I put 2 and 2 together and figured out that the cave on the beach might be the one that leads to the island. So
Oh, look at
I
you!
was like, well, look at that. The big brain. Look at the big brain on Dan. You know.
yeah.
Also, I want to
Man.
call out real quick. If you see any like stuttering or stuff or hitches in the game, that actually wasn't in the gameplay. That was me and my Windows 11 conflicting with OBS when I was recording this. So that is the explanation for there, because I saw a little bit of that on the other video when I went back and looked at it. So
Okay. Good
just
call
in
out.
case,
Good
the
call
game
out.
the game runs smooth as silk.
Yeah. And as you said in the other video too, you feel like you didn't really have tech problems with this, correct?
No, I did not. No crashes, no nothing. It was just a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful,
I-
beautiful thing.
Almost as beautiful as that Borb. Okay, which
Well,
I forgot that I had killed, and now I'm gonna have nightmares. But
Well-
it was in the sake of science, okay?
of course. Yeah, we all sacrifice animals for science apparently.
Oh boy, this is
Ugh.
going dark places.
Yeah.
Okay, let's find the Dissenter's Cave.
Ooh, let's do it.
See, look at I just ran right by this.
Oh, multiple times, yeah.
You
As you
just
see
went right in.
that little line right there that says no horses.
That's rude.
That demounts you. And this place is pitch black without a torch.
Oh, okay.
I did not have a torch on me. The torch should be one of the first items you buy, just so you know.
Learn from his mistakes.
You know what? Nah, I liked it. I was like, let's get spicy.
Yeah.
You know,
you're a man of the spice.
I figured maybe there's probably going to be areas that have secrets that you can only find in the dark. I know how they work over there at FromSoftware. They're not going to trick me.
Fun fact: did you know that I was born in the dark, molded by it?
I do know that now.
I didn't see the light of day until I was a grown man.
It would be extremely painful.
For you. We're going off the rails here.
This is great. This is
Yeah.
great. This is an extended look at Elden Ring, and I'm really glad that everyone's joining us here today.
Yeah. Thank you for getting this far.
And
into
as you
it,
can see,
Chad.
this dungeon, there's like not even anything to find. It's just boom, bosses. Hey, what's up?
You messed
Again,
up.
these are regular bosses, right? So just regular foes, not a big deal.
I do love, and I think I'm not sure if we'll get to it in this video, but we definitely got to it in the last video too. The variance is very interesting to me because obviously that's what Dark Souls from games are known for at this point, right? Are the vast array of different and interesting bosses, but like with the difference now between great foes and normal ones, it's still interesting how varied they seem. Like I don't know if we're gonna show it in this one, but there's like a crazy cat dog thing.
Yeah,
that
I really
fire at
hope
you.
we do have that one in here. And if
Yeah.
not,
Can't
go watch
believe
the
that
other
was
video.
real.
Yeah,
the watchdog, the burial tree watchdog, which is like a living statue, an animated statue, and its movements and animations reflect that.
Its jump is so good.
I was like really, I was confused here for a second. I was like, wait a minute, I killed those bosses and all I got was a piece of string.
What?
I mean, it's a good crafting mat, but no, obviously something else is going on here, right? And this was the first dungeon I saw where it's like, wait, there's another exit or entrance to the area.
Ooh.
Like, what's the deal with that? And you know, I was
There's
taken
two
aback.
entrances, Jerry. Two entrances.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness. This is overwhelming. I'm just gonna be straight honest with y'all. There's so much to do in this game. It's gonna hurt my brain.
And we have to remember it, and this is the thing that I always have to contextualize when I'm thinking back about this playthrough, is that this is a very tiny slice of the big pie that I was, you know, significantly gated off from going anywhere with.
But you can't get up that. Okay.
I know I have to remember, hey, Dan, you got a jump button. Use it. Use the jump.
You fool. I saw...
By the end of things, I was pretty comfortable using jump and using the mount. It will take players some getting used to have those options.
Okay. Because I saw... Well, and I saw back where you defeated the two chefs. There was this beam of light, and that's to return to a spot of grace or whatever.
Every time you do any kind of mini dungeons have mini bosses. That's what I'm going to refer to these things as. Mini dungeons and mini bosses. So anytime you beat a mini dungeon boss, you'll get a beam of light that'll take you right back to the dungeon entrance. Easy peasy. Again, a convenience thing for the Alexes out there who don't want to run back to bosses, don't want to run back through dungeons. Just go, right? Just go. Get to the good stuff.
We Alexes would like to thank the Dans and the FromSoftwares for making this possible. We appreciate it.
I'll tell you what, the Dans we're not upset about this.
No.
It's like the old Dark Souls players aren't going to be like, oh man, I'm so angry that I don't have to walk back through the entire dungeon. Like that's not going to happen, and that's a very strange perceived thing that some people are interpreting from this. That we would be upset at the convenience there.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of jump points at these elevators in this mine. I didn't go to him in this though, but there's a ton of them in this mine. There's like the very standard Miyazaki elevator jump puzzle. There's like 2 to 3 of them just in this cavern, where you jump off at the elevator at a certain point and you find an extra treasure.
Well, also the behind the back stabs will never get old.
Yeah, and you can execute those much more effectively now with the Sekiro stealth creep up if you want to. I'm not really a stealth guy, as you may have noticed. I'm more of like an in-your-face halberd axe kind of thing.
Meet my sword.
Yeah.
Wes,
I was only using the sword because I couldn't find a great club. When I find a great club, believe me, it's just going to be hitting people with logs all day. Anyway, go ahead.
You found a little club that...
I did have the baby... We call it the tapper.
The tapper.
Right?
Boop. Yeah, booping. Yeah. Wes, what is your... Tack is, you know, no holds barred. I'm coming in, you know, with my giant weapon that dwarfs myself. Like, what's your style in these games?
So I kind of like try to vary it up. With Bloodborne was the first Souls game I played, or you know, Souls, whatever, Born, and I kind of just played whatever would get me through to the end because it was kicking my butt being my first time. On other playthroughs, I'm definitely more of an in-your-face kind of person. And then with Demon Souls, for example, I went full magic basically, and turns out Demon Souls is pretty easy when you use magic.
Yeah, it's completely unbalanced in that game.
For sure, yeah. Shout out to Blue Point for keeping it unbalanced too.
Yeah.
Big respect for that. And then Sekiro, obviously, you pretty much have to stealth it. And I am probably in the minority, but I really, 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 really love Sekiro. Like, a lot. It was the first time I platinumed a Souls game or FromSoftware game just because I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And from most people I talk to, it's kind of the little brother that nobody wants to talk about.
I mean, from my perspective, I still think it's a great game. I just prefer when From leans into the RPG aspects more, which it seems like they've done more than ever with this game, which is why I'm predicting that it will be very high on my list.
Yeah. Yeah. Different strokes for different folks.
No way. People like different things. That's not allowed.
No. Hey, now. You know, some people like, you know, McDonald's breakfast. I prefer the superior.
You know what? You're killing me
BK
here,
one,
Alex.
you
No,
know?
no. Oh God.
Well, what did you wait? What did you just say? What?
Yeah,
I didn't
you
hear
heard
it.
exactly what I said.
He's,
The
Say-
superior
man.
Burger King breakfast.
he's talking about some sausage burritos with hot sauce.
Yeah,
No, man,
I
I'm
don't know
talking
what
about
you guys got going on
Egg
in Minnesota,
McMuffins.
but
You know, hey, listen, we rock and roll McDonald's, baby.
the croissant sandwiches are underrated, and the hash browns are better at Burger King than at McDonald's. I'm just gonna say it. You know, I'm tired of pretending that I don't feel this way. You know, I'm having my
Don't
Joker
pretend.
moment.
I'm done
Yeah.
pretending. The best thing to do after you beat a hard Souls boss is to tear into some Mickey D's breakfast. All right, I am tired of hiding it.
because it's now 5 a.m. and you stayed up all night trying
Yeah.
to be a
I know.
boss.
No,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've done it before. You're
Yeah.
100% correct.
He'll do it again with Elden Ring.
It will happen again. It will
Yeah.
happen again.
I can't
Okay,
believe hold
at
on.
least nobody here is eating Wendy's breakfast, you know?
Sure. Wait, is
all
that even
right.
a thing?
Listen,
Is
this
that a
is a
super
very.
bar?
We're trying to play Elden Ring here. Let's not get off track by Wendy. Oof.
Oh, jeez. I can't believe that we've gone an hour into this this thing, and I haven't asked you once about like the story and the lore. What the heck
Oh,
is going
boy.
on with it, or is that not really something they really get at here in the?
Oh, we've gotten a taste of it, but we will be told a lot more of it. We were not treated to a ton of it here in this segment, okay? In this bit, but it will be assembled, okay?
Okay.
That I can promise you.
Mhm.
Again, lots of hints in this. Like the lore behind the Stone Digger Troll. He lived down here. And he's
Yeah.
very upset that we're stealing his Lucky Charms. All right? That's the story behind this guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's got marshmallow cereal down here that he doesn't want you to grab.
He's also
Yeah,
got
you-
a dragon blade that he drops when you kill him.
Ooh.
So, like, you
There
never
it
know
is.
what you're gonna get when you go through a dungeon, right? It could be an Ash of War, it could be an actual weapon, could be a spell, could be could be anything. So do
Yeah.
them all, knock them out.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you.
And again, okay, but we'll get back to the story in a second. But yeah, you may have noticed there were several different elevator jumps in there. I just want to point that out. The mines seem to do that more than the other catacombs and stuff. But you might want to look for secret walls in the catacombs. Anyway, Alex, back to you.
Okay. Because I think we forget, at least I do, that this was like famously the George R.R. Martin collab with Miyazaki
Oh my
and
god,
FromSoftware.
I actually
And
did
I-
totally
right?
forget that.
I
Yeah.
get asked about that at least 4 times a day.
Mhm.
From my understanding, Martin was involved in the creation of the lore behind this world,
Mhm.
and that is his involvement. Now,
That's it.
if I'm speaking out of turn, I'm speaking out of turn, but that is my current understanding of that. So, the lore of this world
Mhm.
was a collaboration with Mr. Martin.
Okay.
Yeah, he was early in development, I think, from what I've read on reports.
Yeah.
Like he
Years
was
ago.
not sticking around. Yeah, he helped them make their little lore Bible and then pieced off, got
Yeah.
his money.
And he's like, I'm just gonna go still not finish the last Game of Thrones book. See
I
ya.
mean, I called that years ago. That was a very famous Dan Predicts.
Oh. Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, some of the lore is here. Some of the lore is here. The grafting.
Santa Claus is in this game here. Yeah.
And I like it how it's very environmentally told in a traditional FromSoftware fashion. Instead of saying, these are a bunch of twisted freaks in this castle that have been like taking pieces of things and putting them on other things, like dragons and sword eagles and saber lions and dragon people. Instead of
Oh
just
my.
saying that happened in a letter that you pick up off of a desk or something, it shows it to you, and you learn it through interactions with the actual environment and the creatures. I believe that From's mastery of environmental storytelling is unparalleled in this industry.
Mhm.
And some people like a more explicit narrative in your face, and I think we're going to get a little bit more of that here. It probably won't be as direct as like Sekiro, which is just like, here's the story.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to get more than Souls in terms of having larger beats told to us instead of having to read all the item descriptions, right?
Yeah.
That will almost certainly happen here. That's my gut check right now.
Mhm.
But there's not going to be any audio logs or notes to read, I don't think. Okay, so
Spray paint on the walls.
yeah,
Dragon up ahead. Watch out.
yeah. Spray paint on the walls. They're putting people in people here.
Yeah. Sounds like y'all been playing Back for Blood. I am curious to see And I know this isn't an exact comp, so don't, because I think the Souls games had a much bigger audience than like the Witcher series before 3. But I do wonder if this is
that
going
even true? I don't know. Is that true? Is that
think
correct?
Okay,
I
maybe
think
that's
so.
just
I
gut,
think
but
so.
yeah,
I'm not calling you out or anything, Alex.
No.
I don't know
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just remember Witcher 1 and 2 being relatively niche, whereas 3 really broke through. And Souls, I think, is more popular as a series before this, but I do wonder if if Elden Ring is going to be that kind of watershed game that pushes this into like a more mainstream zeitgeist than ever before.
I mean,
because
Souls
of
is
everything we
plenty
talked
mainstream, if you ask me, but I suppose it is still somewhat niche. But
Mhm.
I would never call it. I would not call the Souls games niche at this point. Come on.
Or maybe a better comp is like Oblivion versus Skyrim, right? Everyone played Oblivion,
Yeah.
but then
Okay. That.
everyone played Skyrim. Like
Mhm.
my friends who played, who just play Madden and Call of Duty played Skyrim.
Sure. Okay, I get what you're saying then here.
Yeah. hmm
I mean, this I've already said I predict this is going to be their best game ever. So
Yeah.
you could extrapolate on that what I think about how it's going to do in the
sure.
marketplace and critically and commercially.
Yeah. For sure. Is there anything else you want to jump to?
Yeah, right now we're going up the approach to Stormville. This is where it teaches you to use the horse to get past a bunch of guys.
Okay.
Like, if you try to fight your way up that corridor, it's going to be very painful. You have to fight a troll, which I did, just to, like, get the mechanics of killing a troll down. And you can you can make the troll actually... There's so much stuff to learn. You can take the troll and, like, make him bump into walls, and he'll get stunned, and then you can, like, just tear into him. That's how you take out trolls. But
what an idiot. Yeah.
it's supposed to teach you how to, like, use your horse to get past situations that are congested.
hmm
And I'm like, well, what's up with this hill? I'm gonna go in every corner. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna see everything. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hit those birds.
Are you?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm watching you, Tack. I see all here. There we go.
Yeah, this is me just like, trying to go through every inch of this area.
hmm
And there's this thing here. I'm like, what's this?
Oh, what is this?
There's no, like, broken kind of thing for no reason, right? That's gotta there's something that you could do with that thing.
There has to be. I hope there's just a giant ball somewhere you have to roll down.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. The other half of the bowl is somewhere.
Yeah. Go find it. The world is your oyster. Wes, do you have any new, machinations or thoughts from seeing the gameplay here today?
No, I mean, from watching all this and talking to Dan, I just want it on record. I'm still not even worried or upset that I'm not playing it this weekend. Like, I'm not even, doesn't faze me.
You should come back to that area right there at night. Maybe something will happen. That's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Hope here.
And oh man, the day-night cycle is really cool too because I didn't really notice any difference at first. It's quite subtle, but things do change.
hmm
And I have a feeling that over the course of the game, more will change with those phases.
Has there ever been day and night cycles? I'm trying to remember, and I can't seem to.
No, it was no, I don't believe so.
Interesting.
Not that it had any import on the not that it had any gameplay effects at any rate.
Yeah. Ooh, gross little
What are
worm.
these worms?
So yeah, these worms, I think they're jailers. They never fought back when I hit them, and they don't give many souls. This thing right here is the stake of Marika. That's the thing that's like, okay, I can respawn there. So something must be able to kill me here if they put a respawn checkpoint here, right? So that's that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Now you're either looking for it or trying to run away from it.
Oh, I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
But I'm piecing things together here. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
maybe I'll go here. Maybe
what
there's a
we
guy here.
Yeah. Oh, nope, sorry, wrong house.
I was gonna sneak up. You see, I was gonna go for the sneak.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not really a sneaky guy. I like to just really get in there and just whack away
Yeah.
with the biggest thing that I can find. And in this game, it was just a great sword. But
It is a great sword. Oh, and this is like the tutorial boss. Or
yeah,
something
a knight,
similar.
a knight
Yeah.
of Godric. Godric the Grafted.
Godric. Is Godric Hollow from Harry Potter? Is that a thing?
No.
No.
Wait,
I was trying to
Godric
remember.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, Godric
Godric.
sounds familiar.
I bet they just thought the name sounded cool, and it does. So it's a
It's
really cool shield right there. That shield can like shoot out tentacles, I think.
Oh.
But you know me. No shield. No shield rule is still very much in effect, okay?
Okay.
As you can see, I'm one-handing my sword here by accident. I was like, oh, oops.
Oh, got to change that. Also,
Godric's
yes,
Hollow is in Harry Potter.
is Harry Potter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's the same Godric.
No, you don't think there's a little crossover there?
It's Hogwarts Legacy. This is what this is.
Oh,
secretly.
Yeah. That's why
So
we
I
haven't
see that dung beetle there on the wall. That's a health restoration one, so I'm like, should I even kill it? Because I have full flasks, but, you know, whatever. Like, I don't really need it. And I missed this jump, too. This is one that I'm going to love. It's like...
Oh, no.
Well... and then I'm just like, well, you know what? I didn't really need that beetle.
You're like, I am God, and then you jump down this and die? Nope.
I'm not going to jump down that. But yeah, as you can see, you know, we're checking out this...
Yeah.
How do you even pronounce this? Jail... I think it's jail. Ever jail.
It says forlorn, Dan. I don't know if
This is
you
a
can
jail.
read or not. Okay.
And inside the jail is this haunted entity. Interestingly enough, you can't summon in the Ever jail, probably because of the magic around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no summoning friends in here. This one you got to do yourself. And he takes a lot of damage, but he can also hit really hard, so you have to be careful with this one.
Bang. Oh, he's dope. I like his design.
I mean, yeah, he's very similar to Dark Souls 3 design, for instance.
Mm. Oh, he didn't like that.
Oh, he's fast. Wow.
Mm.
He's very fast, and he hits very hard. But he also takes a lot of damage, so...
Good core strength, too.
Yeah,
he works out.
that. Yeah.
You can also see at the bottom there, there's a bleed bar. Souls fans know what that means. If that bar fills up, you get a hemorrhage, and you take tons of damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't want that bar to fill up. So that's going to be more nasty for a defensive character who is more about blocking, because you'll still get those bleed stacks up even when you're defending.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
But for a roly-poly like me, it's not a big factor. We have other problems.
Like just rolling around too much. There we go. Now he's got him. Bang!
God, that move is so cool.
We
It's a
love
great
to
move.
see it. It is so good.
I'm not
like,
upset that I
oh.
can't use it this weekend.
I got a cool shield effect for beating him. Like, yay. I'll never use that. But maybe, you know, hey, you never know. These are all tools, right? And it's about putting that toolkit together.
Yeah.
There's a Captain America build somewhere in this game.
Oh,
And Wes is
guaranteed.
gonna find it. You better believe
Guaranteed.
it. Yeah.
I don't even doubt that.
Yeah. Well, Tack, I think we're coming to the end here. Is there one more sequence we want to show off here?
Yeah, sure, pick one.
Okay. Alrighty, we are entering the last section of this video before we say goodbye. This is a little bit more exploration. There's also using some of the environmental tools to find some of these catacombs, which we haven't hit on yet.
Yeah.
What is the difference, if there is any, between like the catacombs versus like the derelict cave that you found, right? Is there a difference?
Yeah, there are, but I mean, I don't know if I can give a comprehensive list of differences, because for a lot of these different like dungeon biomes, we only got to experience one. But the catacombs are interesting because the catacombs include traps, as a rule, apparently, I think, and they also include gargoyles, and they could be found by these statues, like this here, right? This guide and gatekeeper.
Posture.
For those journeying back to the tree, they kind of give you like, hey, follow the yellow brick road. Because
Hey, idiot, over there.
The catacombs can often be out of the way, right? But all the dungeon entrances can be, really. But it's like, hey, go over there. I'm like, and like looking at it from afar here, I don't see anything. Do you?
No.
No, because you know why? Because it's like kind of under the horizon, which is very interesting. So like, it makes you want to go out there and encourages you to go where it's pointing, and lo and behold,
Look at
you're
that.
gonna find something, right?
Yeah.
And this is a catacombs. So as I said, the rule with the catacombs, there are a few rooms each, so more rooms than like a cave. The cave seems to be the smallest in this. I don't think there's any hard set rule though. I bet there's gonna be big caves and small caves. And they have like certain cave crafting materials in them. Go figure, right? Like cave moss and stuff like that. The catacombs.
Lost is in this game?
Yes. The catacombs seem to have traps and better items. This is not a rule though. They had like cool items that you could find in here, like summon spells and ashes of war. Now that's not true, because we found like, you know, we found the awesome Flask of Wondrous Physic in a cave, so there's no like there's no rule to this thing. But there are definitely traps and gargoyles in the catacombs as a standard for what we found.
Yeah. So do you think? So wait, let's go back to that just so I make sure I understand. You said you found the what is it, the cask of physic or whatever? What is
the
it?
Flask of Wondrous Physic with a K. Don't you love that?
I do. Enough so that I remembered it and said it right. You found that in a random cave. Is it a thing where, because that seems like a pretty important gameplay thing to have. Do you think it's in that in that specific cave, or like do you think you can find that elsewhere?
If we look at other network tests, I don't think that the item placement and layouts are going to be exact to the actual release. But mad props to them if they do just stick that item in a random cave somewhere, right? Like, that's pretty freaking wild. Like,
it wouldn't be surprising if they did that.
It's like, yeah,
I don't know that.
Find it.
I think many of these areas will be laid out the same. I don't. If we're just predicting things, I don't think that the drops or the item placements will be 1-to-1. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Wes, you'll have to tell us when you play this weekend.
Oh well, actually, I actually emailed From and said, "Don't put me in the test because I don't want to play." So
you said, "Please give my code to someone else." You're man of the people, Wes. Yeah.
They were definitely gonna give me one, and I denied them. I said, "It's okay, give it to someone else who wants to play."
You're a good man.
Naturally.
Naturally, of course. Yeah. Well, yeah. These traps don't look fun.
I mean, they're fine actually. Compared to like they're very anyone who's dealt with Dark Souls trap areas will be right at home, and they're not that bad honestly. But the Catacombs makes you think a little bit more than the other dungeon biomes because of the trap element. But again, as I found, you can use the traps against the denizens of these caves as well. So that's of these Catacombs as well, which is really important. Like it's great to just pull a bunch of gargoyles into like their own arrow trap or their own flame trap, you know, and just clean them up that way for a bunch of free runes, aka souls.
Yeah. Oh baby, look at that. And I think the normies out there would have hit the trap and said, "No, I gotta get out of here." But no, Tack's thinking.
I mean,
thinking man.
You got
Look at that.
You just get in there. You know what I mean? Have a good time.
Yeah. Just roll around, get dirty, get messy.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly my playstyle.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got the Wandering Noble Ashes, which is like gives you 5 really crappy summons, but they take up the enemy's attention, which is kind of the point of the summons. But there's a very wide range of summons, so I bet people will experiment with different summons in different situations. Like those 5 dudes are great against an enemy that is going to get confused by 5 different targets to swing at. But if you've got an enemy with AoE, for example, a boss with an AoE attack, those will be like the worst choice because they'll just kill them all in one single AoE.
Oh god, yeah.
So you want to use one of the bigger, chunkier summons in that case.
I'm curious what like the size of because we've seen some relatively humanoid-sized ones. We have the dogs too, but like I wonder how big those summons get. Like, could you get one of the summon for a troll? I wonder.
I'm guessing they're gonna get very large.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. We can only hope.
And as you got levers and stuff to open a door. In some ways, people who've played a lot of Bloodborne will liken these to the Chalice dungeons, but these are much more. They are smaller, but they're not repetitive like the Chalice dungeons. Each one seems to have its own little like thing, right? This one's got the fire pillars. The other one's got fire arrow traps. Some of them will have like swinging saws. I'm sure. Of
course,
they're all gonna have their own little like element to toy around with. And they don't they're not like they don't get that repetitive sense with the Chalice dungeons. Really turned a lot of people off. Where it's just like, oh god, another floor, another bunch of crap to go through. I don't think that people are gonna get that feeling here.
Good. Well, friends, this is our final boss fight here.
Is it?
Well, for this video it is.
Alex, don't go.
Tack, I'm sorry. We talked about McDonald's or Burger King, and I instantly became hungry. I need to get out of here. Look at this thing. It's so great. This thing is wild.
So I hate this. I hate.
Yeah, it's got very, very stylized, right? It's an actual statue.
Yeah.
But it's really awesome.
Really sad eyes.
Yeah.
Its
Those
movements are
There's
very
a human
cool,
stuck
right?
in a statue,
Yeah.
desperately trying to get out. That's all they want. They just want out.
Yeah. Oh, Tack, you get through this? Yeah, of course Tack's gonna get through this. What are we even talking about? Oh! What?
Yeah,
What?
this one was kind of touch and go.
He did it because he's Dan freaking Tack.
No, I gotta tell you, this is the danger of the summons is you do get lazy. Well, yeah, you definitely do. Like, I'm just like, all right, I'll just summon and hit the thing a few times.
Yeah.
And that will not work for all fights, obviously. But like here, I was just like, yeah, whatever. I got the summon. I'm just gonna hit it.
It worked.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, it was a really hard fight, guys. Really hard. Right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Gentlemen, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for taking this trip through Elden Ring. Yeah. Elden Ring. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. If you like some of these longer plays, like let us know. This was very fun to put together. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you want a little bit more condensed version, we have our Dan's impressions on the podcast this week. We also have the NGT, which has a couple more boss fights that you didn't see in this one. So thanks for watching. Be good to one another, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.